Hi, this is Mr. Crane again. Sorry, my computer shut off last time I was trying to record for you, and I needed to redo one. So I'm going to start all over. So we started off with looking at or left off with looking at our data. And so I do have some data for you, but we're going to put a graph in here. It says create a bar graph for your data. Don't forget the graph needs tails. Your graph should always look like this one. So tails refers to your your axis, your labels, your scale, your title. So don't forget to label those appropriately because you'll need your units, things like that. So I'm going to show you how to build a graph that kind of looks like this one right here. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this for a second. We're going to come over to the graph data. So here's your data that I'm going to supply for you. So if I grab my data and I copy my data down, all the data that I want, starting from this A1 field all the way down to D8 field, this is all the data that for a class of trials. So here's one person's trials, second person's trials, third person's trials for each one of those positions. So if I highlight that data and drag it all down here, then that's the data that I want to make a graph about. So I'm going to hit insert up here and go to chart. And then the computer is going to do its own business where it's trying to calculate based on the X and the Y axis, everything that we're asking it to compute. So it's going to come up with a chart like this, and I like to move it, get it out of the way. It's going to come up with a chart like this, and this really doesn't help us. It does show our trials in relation to the other ones. It does give us an X and a Y axis. But over here, I'm going to chart type. I'm going to change my chart type to a bar graph. So this is a little bit better. So now I see my position A, my position B, my position C. Now my chart title is not correct because this is a water bottle lab. So I'm going to click over here on customize, and I'm going to go chart title and axis, and I'm going to pick my chart title. I'm going to highlight this right here. And as I change it over on the right, it's going to change over here. So this is the water bottle lab. So when I hit that, it changes it over here. Now I'm a big on centering, so I'm going to put my center there. I do like my legend because blue represents my position A, position B, position C. But if I wanted to change this to 10 centimeters over here and 20 centimeters and 30 centimeters, I could do that. Just make sure that your position A, B, and C is represented by your document that you're creating to turn in. All right, so I have my trials, so that this is already labeled, but I don't know what my vertical axis is, and this is my time. So I'll go back over here to charts, title, and axis. I'll go to vertical axis, and I'm going to give this a title, and I know it's in um, minutes and seconds. Give it a unit, and that's pretty much it. So my trials are each one of them. So trial student one, student two, student three, you could put it like that if you wanted to. But this is my data. So once I take this data, now I can move this data back into my original document by clicking this and right clicking it and say, by right clicking it, I'm sorry, I guess you can't do that. So click on it and then hit Control C. And when you hit Control C, then I can paste it wherever I want to. So back over in my original document, so let's say it's this document, if it were this area right here and I selected that, I could hit Control V right there in that field. And of course, it's going to say, do you want to paste the spreadsheet or link the spreadsheet? And you're always going to say yes. So I can do that from our data currently. And I can get rid of it right here and see if it works for us. Get rid of this. I'll hit that. And I'll come over and I'll hit Control V right here. Control V, maybe. So let me go back to our. So I'm going to click on this, hit Control C, and then go back over to our Windows area where I want to, and hit Control V. And that puts my new data right there. Does that make sense? So now for you, I'm going to get rid of that because I want you to do that. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to hit undo twice.